Hey YouTube, I'm back again with another video. I will probably be on the run throughout this entire video, but I wanted to put this video out because I've been having a lot of questions about what my invisible disability is. And no, that does not mean that it does not exist. It just means that you can't physically see my disability, which means a lot of the times, oh, this brightness is terrible in here. People assume I don't have a disability, which kind of sucks because it makes me feel like, well, nothing's wrong with me, but I clearly know something's wrong with me. So first things first, I have an uncommon condition, rarely diagnosed condition called hypoparathyroidism. And yeah, that's a mouthful, but I'm getting ready to explain what exactly hypoparathyroidism is. Okay, so let's go. So we're back. I'm in the car. I'm heading to class. Say hello to Dorian, everybody. Hypoparathyroidism. Hypoparathyroidism is the underactivity of your thyroid gland, and it regulates hormones. So there's a lot of symptoms that come with it, but for some reason it's like really difficult to like diagnose, even though it's more common in women than it is in men. It all started when I was about, it was actually on my 16th birthday. So June 10th, 2015, I was in Virginia. I was having a good time for my 16th birthday. I'd already got my license. No, I didn't get my license, y'all. I was just driving like I did. But anyway, I went to Virginia. We had a good time. We were eating at, I think it's Captain George's or Captain something, Captain Bob's. I don't remember what it is. But it's like this really expensive seafood buffet restaurant. And I was with my mom, my dad, my two sisters, my uncle, my cousin, my aunt. It was great. Everything was going well. And then I noticed that I started like cramping. That feels like period pain. I mean, most women know what period pain feels like. If you don't, God bless you. But I was like, okay, Dad, can I go to the car? Let me get some pain medicine. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So I go to the car, and as I'm walking to the car, I'm feeling like really sick, and it's like worse than I've ever felt. I'm like, man, this is terrible. Like I'm sweating, and it wasn't just because of the heat. Like it was like drenching sweat. And I was like, okay, let me just get to the car, get my medicine. I'll be okay once it kicks in. So I take 2 pills of Aleve. I sit in the car for a little while because I can't even get up to walk anymore. And I'm in the car for maybe, it felt like 5 minutes. I was in there for about 25 minutes. So my parents tell Sarah to come out and check on me. Sarah's my middle sister. She comes out to check on me, and I'm like, I'm fine, I'm okay. I'm gonna get out and walk because I want to finish eating. I had a whole plate of food. I didn't get a chance to finish eating. But as I'm walking indoors, my world starts like closing in on me. Like it's like this tunnel of darkness. And I'm like, oh man, am I about to pass out? And so my dumb self decides to speed up to try to like go inside, because I'm like, if I can just get to my dad, he can help me out. And so I'm like trying to run in, and at that point, obviously you're losing oxygen and you're gonna pass out. So I reach for my sister to like keep myself from falling on the concrete, and she does this notion here. And that's the last thing I saw. I saw her go and laugh because she thought I was playing. So I hit the ground, and the next thing I remember, there's a nurse. She comes up to me and she's like, are you okay? I'm a nurse. You just passed out. I was like, I don't know if I'm okay. And she was like, where's your parents? Sarah went and got my parents. They come outside, and they call the ambulance because, you know, they don't know what's going on. The next thing I remember is the tingling in my fingers and my toes. And it was like excruciating. I started cramping all over my body. And my dad took my feet and he lifted it above my heart. And that was probably like, that was the first time I felt that much pain. Like it was ridiculous. Like it felt like a million ants like attacking my legs and attacking my feet. And I was like pleading with him to put it down, but he was like, no, you need to get blood back to your head. So they get in the ambulance. They asked me all these questions. I remember everything. Get to the hospital. They take my blood, and they're like, oh, she's just dehydrated. So at this point, I'm like, oh, I got dehydrated and passed out? Okay. All right, fine. So that's what we believed. Until the very next month, the week of my cycle, very first day of my cycle, the same thing happened. I passed out, the cramping, the pain. It was excruciating. I went back to the hospital, and they told me the same thing. Oh, you're just dehydrated, or you just had a syncope episode because of the period pain. And I'm just like, really? I will talk to y'all after class. And we are back. I'm out of class. I have my headphones on, so my hair looks a little weird. But so this continuous cycle of the week of my period starting, and me having cramps, tingling, passing out, it would happen maybe once or twice the week of my period every month. So at that time, like after it's happening month after month, that continuous cycle, it had gotten to a point where I was like, you know what, forget it. There's no need for me to go to the hospital. Like, they're not going to find anything. There's nothing wrong with me, they say. Not that there's anything wrong with anybody having a disability. I'm just saying it wasn't my normal. I wasn't diagnosed by a doctor until I was 18 and a half. So it went on from 16 to 18 and a half with no diagnosis by any doctors. But my dad was actually the first person to diagnose me. He got sick of not getting any answers either, and believing me when I told him what was going on was not something I was making up. And after looking at my blood work, he noticed that I had high phosphorus and low calcium. And the calcium was so low, it was like osteoporosis low. Like, it was below anything he could have ever thought. So his next thing was, you need some supplements. Maybe that'll help. And so I started taking supplements, and it started making me feel better. I started eating foods with more calcium in it, and it started making me feel better. And in that time of trying to figure out what was going on with me, we saw a cardiologist. There was nothing wrong with my heart. We saw a neurologist. There's nothing wrong with my brain. We finally got sent to an endocrinologist. And that endocrinologist was the person that formally diagnosed me with hypoparathyroidism. And one of the first things she told me was, I'm not gonna lie, like, it really, like, it almost brought me to tears. And I'm not like a big crier, but it almost brought me to tears because for so much of my life, I was just hearing, there's nothing wrong with you by doctors. You're overreacting by adults. She's just doing that to get out of an exercise and certain practices. And I'm not going to name any names, but like, I've been told that there was nothing going on when I clearly knew there was something wrong with my body. Something was not doing what it was supposed to be doing for me to feel this way. And I say that to say to anybody that's out there that if you feel like there's something wrong with you, then you don't stop just because somebody else says there's nothing wrong with you or we can't find anything. Because truth be known, nobody knows your body better than you do. Not a doctor, not a scientist, not your parents, not your friends. Just nobody knows your body better than you do. You know what feels normal to you. So when something feels off, you don't stop just because somebody says, oh, there's nothing wrong. A lot of women go undiagnosed. And a lot of people go undiagnosed with any other condition because, especially people of color, especially women of color, we get told that, oh, she's just faking it. It's not real. Like, and that's why so many of us die. But that's a whole nother topic of discussion. So to actually hear that doctor tell me, Brianna, you have a disability. Brianna, you have a condition called hypoparathyroidism. To actually have a name with a condition that I have it was amazing. It was an overwhelming feeling. Like, obviously I don't want this condition. Like, obviously I don't want it, but I have it. And now that there's it's documented that I have it, I don't feel like a crazy person. And one of the, I was reading up on some of the symptoms of hypoparathyroidism, and I saw anxiety and depression. And I know that your thyroid gland helps with regulation of hormones. I know that could have a factor. But I really feel like a lot of the depression and anxiety stems from not feeling heard, or people calling you dramatic and saying that there's nothing wrong. Like, not feeling heard can really put you in a dark place. And for anybody out there that's struggling with something that nobody believes, just keep fighting. Keep trying new doctors. Keep trying to figure out what's up, because it took me 2.5 years. Anyway, I'm going to move on to some questions that some people asked me off of Instagram. And one of the questions was, do I feel embarrassed about having hypoparathyroidism? And I don't feel embarrassed about having it. I feel embarrassed about passing out in front of people, because who wants to pass out in front of people? Not me. And it's happened countless times. At work, it's happened. It's happened, what's happened multiple times at work. I actually learned that I couldn't regulate my body temperature correctly. So when it gets cold outside like it is right now, I am more susceptible to pass out, even if I'm not on my cycle. And yeah, it's just not a good place to be. So I try to stay away from all things cold. That's why I have this beanie on my head. I try to stay as warm as possible. But yeah, someone asked me if I knew anybody else that had hypoparathyroidism in my family. And as of right now, I don't know. Not to my knowledge. Someone asked me about the symptoms that I have. Of course, low calcium, high phosphorus. I actually broke my middle finger in playing basketball in high school. And I should not have broken my finger, but my calcium was so low that it was easily broken. And I still have problems with it today, but it's okay. So that, and then cramps, and then the tingling in my fingers and toes. And when I say cramps, I mean full on body cramps. I don't have this Apple Watch just to look cool. Like, I use this to use Siri and call my parents, because when I'm cramping and I'm on the ground, I can't even move my fingers. Like, it's like when I first passed out, my mom thought I was having a stroke. Like, that's how bad my hands were curled. Like, I couldn't even pry it open if I wanted to. So it's not like your regular cramp. Like, it's full on body cramp. You can't move. The most I could do was talk. And then sometimes it was even hard to talk. So yeah, those are like my major symptoms. Oh, and then not having enough energy, man. Like, I'm a very active person. So for me not to have energy to do stuff, it was like, it's crazy. But as long as I'm taking my supplements, I'm pretty good. Like, I'm pretty good with the whole energy levels and stuff. Sometimes I'll still struggle. But yeah, those are my main symptoms. Someone asked me if it affected my schoolwork, and yes, it does actually. It affects my learning. Not mentally, but my body, if my body's not feeling well, it's hard for me to learn. It's hard for me to focus. And so I do have vocational rehab. I truly appreciate them. My man, Mr. Cordell, my guy. But like, let's say I were to pass out in the middle of a test or a final exam and I have to leave. I'm able to do that because I have vocational rehab, because I have a disability. So yeah, I hope they answer. And so I'm not trying to let this video be super duper long. If there's more questions in the future, I'll definitely answer them. I think I answered most of them within my story of like how everything happened. But if there's any more questions, I don't mind. I would say I would make another video, but I honestly don't know, because I'm a biology student. Come on, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It's tough out here. It's real tough out here for the college students. But anyway, good luck to you guys in the new semester. If you are a college student, if you're out of college, congratulations. If you're going to college, good luck. I'm out of here with this video. But if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to try my best to answer them.